discuss our vote.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're back down here at the federal courthouse. It's after court. We just got out. It was a long day. It was my first day back down here, but the day makes 12 days from jury selection, opening arguments and everything. That Andrea Parker's been down here the whole time, and but this is my first day back in court. And I tell you what, it's things that happened today have been just jaw-dropping. It's hard to comprehend all this stuff. Being here is the only way that you can actually get all this in and just understand this tyranny and this corruption that's going on in this court. First thing we want to bring up is the doctor again. Dr. Henry Wissler, and I'm probably not pronouncing his last name right, but he's 93 years old. He has a sentencing hearing here tomorrow at 9 a.m. His family would love all the support. He would love it. He's 93 years old. He's about to be sentenced tomorrow, looking at 20 years or longer in a federal prison somewhere here in the United States. His daughter told me yesterday that he is most likely going to be shipped off all the way to either New York City or North Carolina, or maybe even Florida, to serve out his sentence. He will not make it 20 years in prison being at 93 years old. So this is going to be a death sentence to him. It's horrible. He's not going to be back near his family. They live in California and here in Las Vegas, and he's going to be shipped off plumb across the country to the East Coast somewhere. I'll have his name better tomorrow at the update, how to pronounce his last name, but it's Dr. Henry Wissler is how I'm understanding how it's pronounced. But we need his support here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Court for Eric Parker and the other three defendants don't start till 10 o'clock, so it gives us a little bit of time to show him support and be at his hearing. First off, we want to bring up some kind of breaking news here, what happened today with one of the jurors. And one of the jurors brought it to the judge's attention in a note that she had received a text message today from a friend. And this text message that she had received came on her cell phone that she had with her here today, and it says, you have 2 hours more to pass death sentence on these defendants. I'm going to repeat this again. This is juror number 1. She received a text message from a male friend, some other friend of hers, on her cell phone, telling her she had just 2 hours to pass a death sentence on these prisoners. We brought that juror in. The judge questioned her and asked her relationship with this guy and how long she's known the guy, and if she could still continue not being biased. There's still a lot of decisions to be made here. The defense team was shocked at it. The prosecution just fumbled around. Nobody has made a decision whether to get rid of this juror or to keep her. One other thing that got brought up about this juror, the judge brought up again, as this juror's ex-husband was actually a U.S. Park Service personnel, like a park ranger, park service guy. He was not an officer, I understand, but he was he worked for the Park Service, the BLM. That's her ex-husband. She was at least honest enough to tell about this text message, so I don't really have informed an opinion yet. She seems like a juror that's trying to be honest about it, but someone did send her a message telling her she had just 2 hours to pass death sentence on these prisoners. I'm going to turn it over now to Andrea Parker. We've got lots of news here to tell what went on with this last witness. He's an FBI agent. He sits in the courtroom. He was in the last trial. He testified in the last trial. He's always in there. But anyway, Andrea, go ahead.
Okay, so he is the case agent for this actual trial. So he's been in the courtroom the entire time, both this trial and the previous trial. He actually sits in the courtroom behind the prosecution on that little bench. I've talked about this little bench before. I've said, here we have 3 prosecuting attorneys, and then we have 5 people sitting behind them on that bench. So 5, 6, 7, 8. If you count the judge, we've got 9 on 4 with the lawyers. So he's part of this giant team. Today he gets up from that area, goes to the witness stand to testify. Now I want to bring something up here. What he is testifying to, he is bringing in footage from Dennis Michael Lynch. He is bringing in footage from Hugh Gorgon. He is bringing in pictures from Hugh Gorgon. He is bringing in pictures from Shannon Bushman. We all know from last trial, all of those people were called by the prosecution to testify in the courtroom. What we have here is the government went through the first trial and they found that any civilian that they brought in to testify for the prosecution, even if it was to just authenticate their pictures, they could not keep them from telling their story and supporting more of the defendants than they support the prosecution's narrative. So what they have done here is, because they got a mistrial last time, they have recalculated, and instead of going by things the correct way, the accurate way, by bringing the people who took the photo in to authenticate it, they instead are making sure that those people don't even enter the courtroom, and this FBI agent will testify to it. So, like I said, they had a mistrial the last time. They have doubled down, they have tripled down, they have thrown everything they've got at this. They have stacked the jury against us. They have prevented us from talking about the BLM's heavy-handedness, state of mind. They have taken any form of defense away from us, and now they are even taking any civilian that testified in the last trial from testifying in this trial. I doubt they'll even call a civilian to testify. Now, of course, they do call the Park Service employee that stopped and took pictures. They called him a civilian, and they also called another person that was contracted by the government to work with the cattle impound, a civilian. But those are not true civilians. If the government is paying your paycheck and you're testifying upstairs, don't you think that that goes to your bias? Absolutely.
There are some good questions up here and statements in regards to this witness, Special Agent Willis, today being in the courtroom and also being a witness and being in the courtroom prior. A lot of people are under the belief that all witnesses are strictly to be not in the courtroom up until testimony, and then maybe after that they can view.
So the way that they got around this in both trials is they say the case agent can be in the courtroom the entire time and still testify. They also say that the defendants get the same ability to sit through the entire trial and then have the option to testify. So this case agent is the only one that supposedly has that same ability to sit in the courtroom and testify. So that's where that's going. But I agree that this is practically the prosecution going up and giving testimony against the defense. So what's different from Nadia Med giving her own narrative at the stand versus this agent getting onto the witness stand and actually testifying? So where is the line that they're crossing? Well, I believe they've blurred all of those lines. They're allowed to do whatever they want in there, and that's because the rules change daily. There is no rules written in stone, and if they don't win here, what are they going to do next? What other possibility? They have gone from somewhat trying to give us a fair trial to trying to completely railroad us. If this doesn't work, what are they going to do next? If we can't get 12 people to agree on something, we all know with the patriot community, with politics, can you ever find 12 people that are going to agree on everything? It's impossible. I doubt that that's going to happen upstairs. So what are they going to do next? Are they going to pull a Hillary Clinton and then all of a sudden everyone dies of a heart attack in jail?
Jurors dead by suicide?
Yeah.
Or witnesses dead by suicide?
Well, exactly. Or even just the guys. All of a sudden, the guys are being held and they all have a heart attack, or there's a mass fight in the jail. Where is their next plan of attack? Because it has gone too far already. We are not getting a fair trial inside. There is no way that this is going to come out fair no matter what happens. I also believed I saw somebody commenting on a mistrial with this juror. 2 cases during this trial already, they have brought up the mistrial word. I believe if the prosecution and the judge feel like this is going south, they will just call a mistrial. They've already set themselves up on the inside. I just want everyone to know that the prosecution actually filed a motion about racial and gender bias before they claimed it upstairs in the courtroom. They have been preparing for every turn of events coming up, and I don't put anything past them. When there is no checks and balances The government will run off and do whatever they want. The bad guys will win when there are no checks and balances. This is what I've been saying from the beginning. Where is the checks and balances? Where is the people from our government that are going to come down and sit in this courtroom and tell me that what we're seeing is a fair trial? That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah. In regards to sitting down and seeing this trial versus the last trial in comparison with notes, especially with today's witnesses, there have been several anomalies that were pointed out to me since I missed some of that. Would you be willing to go over with the audience what those, at least a couple of those anomalies are?
Okay, so...
And his inconsistencies.
Well, there's been inconsistencies the entire time. Willis, okay, so for Agent Willis, let's talk about this. They decided to bring in PBS frontline evidence in this trial, and then there was something else. Both of those things didn't come out until after the last trial. So now they're going to bring in PBS frontline evidence, pictures as evidence. They're making their own timeline for these pictures. They're pulling all of these in, accumulative evidence, just so that they can create this timeline where it shows that these people were pointing weapons for a certain amount of time. When they have aerial footage, they can be like, here they got on the bridge, here they stopped. But they don't want to do it that way. They want to misconstrue everything. I also want to bring up the fact that they can bring PBS frontline information into the courtroom, but they're not even going to prosecute them for getting out protected discovery.
Right.
Let's demand all the discovery gets released. If PBS and the government's narrative are the ones that are able to pick what pieces and release it, we the people demand that the discovery on these cases are released. There is no reason the Las Vegas Review-Journal, who asked for this multiple times, should not get the longbow. I know other news sources have asked for this longbow footage. PBS was given clips that prove the government's narrative or push the government's narrative, and that's what they put out and nothing else. Other things, these other defendants are coming in, they change, they say, oh, well, this is Tan Hat. They identified Tan Hat as Todd Engel in the last trial. The same defendant or the same witness comes up and it identifies Tan Hat as somebody completely different in this trial. But we can't even bring up that there's another trial. They just say, oh, a previous hearing. Now, we can do this, but it's confusing to the jury. We can't be like, well, didn't you identify Tan Hat as someone else in a previous trial, a hearing? And then these FBI agents, these BLM people, they're all trained to skirt around the actual question, not answer it. It's a distraction tactic.
And they're bringing up lots of people in camouflage standing in front of the stage area that aren't even defendants, that they're making them look like scary people. These men haven't even been charged, which I'm thankful they haven't. But they're showing these people as if they're co-conspirators or conspirators in this case when they haven't even been charged, but they're showing all these pictures to the jurors, making it look like there's a whole bunch of people that are militia or oath keepers. And
like a bad name.
These men don't even belong to the Arizona militia, never have. They don't belong to the oath keepers. So with all that said, they're making them look like they belong to some big conspiracy or oath, militia thing when they don't. Eric Parker wasn't dressed like the Oath Keepers or the Arizona militia. He came there by himself with a couple of friends from another state even, and didn't even know them other people. So in the Facebook post, they're pulling off Facebook posts just from a couple of days ago. They're looking at our Facebook post as we're speaking and using it up there in the courtroom. They asked about a couple of Facebook posts we had that was up here, and when it was last seen, and he said, well, just yesterday or the day before, just with a couple of days ago, Agent Willis was pulling Facebook posts off of Facebook and use it as evidence today.
And that's outside the scope of the time limitations provided for this case.
Way
am I
out
correct?
of scope.
Well, and this is how they're getting around it. They're saying it's open source, meaning any person can go on the internet, look up that person's Facebook, and look at that information. This goes to your privacy settings on your Facebook, if you're friends only or public, and all of that. What they're saying is these open sources, they can just go onto anyone's Facebook, pull something off, and use it as evidence in court. First off, there's huge issues with this. Who edits things they put on Facebook? I'm gonna say a lot of people edit and they enhance things on Facebook. So to say that is an accurate representation, and have someone say that is an accurate representation that wasn't there, didn't take the picture, he's just an FBI agent accurate representation. Oh, I can tell the timeline on that based on the images of the people down in the wash and where they're standing, or based on someone's shadow. They are saying that I can tell what time that picture was taken based on someone's shadow. So what we have here is a whole bunch of smoke and mirrors on the government side trying to prove a case and distract the jury and mislead Americans.
Absolutely.
100%.
Well, it's been a long day down here, guys. We will have more for you tomorrow and throughout the week. If you're down here close by, come and join us. Other than that, we will be giving you an update probably at noon. It's really tight schedule sometimes getting out here and grabbing lunch, but please come down here and join us. If not, we'll be still giving you some updates at our lunch break and probably again tomorrow evening. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Have a good day, and God bless, and keep praying for us.